girl, that girl is God bless her, because she's just like, I'm just gonna work through this. It's no big deal. And let's talk right about them, because they were next, Bindi and Derek. Foxtrot, Grace Kelly. And let's talk about Bindi on this. What 17-year-old picks Grace Kelly? I'm like, this girl is so wise and mature beyond her years. She picks someone that's elegant and sophisticated, and I just always think, like, at that age, I would have been like, okay, like, I totally love Mallory on Family Ties, like Justine Bateman or whatever, or someone, her age might be more into like Demi Lovato.
Yeah,
the girl has got class like oozing out of every pore of her body.
Such a class act. And just that routine was effortless. She can do a lot because she can really hit it, but she was able to kind of like sit into it and give you that stylistic quality and own it with a maturity that is, like you said, so beyond her years. I think if it wasn't already in the bag, that was a showstopper of a routine, don't you think?
Completely. I did tweet out last night, I said, here's a great Emmy submission. Because and go back and watch it if you didn't. Look at the opening, look at the stylistic quality of the camera angle. You had elements of Fosse, you had elements of Busby Berkeley, elements of even Michael Bennett, and everything was well thought out. She delivered. People are like, oh, she messed up a little bit on the star thing with the Busby Berkeley era. You know what? I barely noticed it, because it just was one of those pieces, again, really well constructed, really well performed from beginning to end. And
she fronted the team, like she fronted that with all of the troupe behind her. She wasn't even like next to somebody, so she had a little eyes view if things went wrong. She was legitimately ahead of everyone, and then she changed positioning too. And that's difficult with camera angles like that, because if you go wrong, you're messing it up. But she was great, and that's a lot of pressure.
There is a lot of pressure, and we saw a little bit in the package. She's just like, I'm feeling it. She's human. She's 17, but she talks about wanting to be perfect, and I'm like, wow, she's got a lot of that perfectionism in her, and she's just like, I'm gonna go through it. And then you look at her feet, and you're like, girl, Whoa. You're dancing on all that, like. Wow. But what I do love about this partnership, and this has even nothing to do with what's happening on the dance floor, even though I love that, it's magical. I love that Derek looks surprised. He looks like relaxed. He looks like he's having fun. I feel like we see a side to him that's brotherly and sweet, which we've seen in other partnerships, but it's just in a way that there's just like, she's got some magic that I don't think he's ever been connected with before. She's just so different and otherworldly. He said to me, he
was just like, I'm having the best time. And you can tell, like, whenever I see him, he's just like, I think when you've been on the show as long as, Derek, Mark, some of the guys that, the vets that have been on the show, there is a science to it to some degree. It is work, and what works, what doesn't. But then you just get surprised some days when you walk into a studio and you meet someone like Bindi, and they just turn everything around and just brighten your day and make it more than just dance. And she's teaching Derek things. She's a 17-year-old girl, and she's like giving Derek life lessons, she's just adorable.
Yeah.
And her mum is the same too. They're all so sweet and so lovely.
I love that. And I guess there's just an ease there. Like there's an ease to the friendship. There's an ease to the partnership. And
Trust.
if you go back and you look, because I think it's sort of in juxtaposition. I felt like his season with Nastia, and not that Nastia was hard, but I just the flying back and forth, the circumstances, the injury, just everything, that it was tough. Or even like Amber, it wasn't as natural a partnership. I always feel like Kelly, he was like super relaxed with. Sean, he was super relaxed with. But this one is just like next level. Yeah. I don't know. It's so interesting. 1099.
They're trying to crack the whip now, because it's like, what else can
They're like her shoulders. I was like, okay. Other weeks I've been like, she needs to work on her core strength a little bit, but I feel like that is continually building, and I didn't feel like the shoulders was like that big a deal.
I honestly quite felt as though it was like, oh, we've given you too many 10s. Well, that's what Julianne said. She was like, I keep giving you 10s, and then she gave you a 9. So it's like, okay. You found something.
And you know, it was funny. A lot of people on Twitter were like, "Oh, well, we know that Sharna and Nick are going to be the ones that have immunity this week because they have contemporary." Like everyone already predicted like all this stuff that was happening because they're just going to like keep Bindi a little bit lower and then make it a tighter race leading into the finale. You know, people that have watched so long, everyone feels like the manipulation and like the hands in the cookie jar and everything.